voice. I feel like I'm like a singer with this mic setup. I wrote some notes because, public speaking is terrifying. But just to introduce myself. My name is Megan Riddell. I'm a copywriter, brand strategist, and I run a company called Scribe Copywriting. So at Scribe, we specialize in working with real estate and development organizations, architects and interior designers, basically anybody who's in sort of the spaces and places realm, to help them create the story that guides their project launch or their rebrand. So before we get started, I'd like to share a little bit about myself and how I got into this line of work. So after many years working in the real estate industry, I decided to pivot and open a copywriting agency that was tailored to those same clients that I was already working with. So at the time, I had been working for one of Vancouver's largest real estate marketing companies, and I felt like there was an opportunity for copywriters who were familiar with the industry, who understood the project life cycles and the industry language. And I launched Scribe. That was nearly 3 years ago. Today, we've worked with everyone from exciting newcomers in development who are looking to, change the shape of Vancouver, and then, industry titans, including, Anthem, BD, Townline, just to name a few. So the real question is, what do you do? Like many creatives, my parents don't understand what I do for work. So one of the main questions I get is, what do we actually do at Scribe and how can we help our clients? So to give you a better idea, I will very quickly walk you through a couple of our recent projects from the last year. So one of the things we did is we crafted brand strategy and tone of voice, and we applied that across all of the marketing initiatives for one of Townline's new developments, Meridian, which is in Coquitlam. We ran a series of workshops for the leadership team at a company called MQN, which is an architectural firm that's based in the Okanagan. I keep looking at my slide for some reason. But we worked with the leadership team there to reshape the organization's language ahead of their rebrand. And then we also we established tone of voice for the Curve Instagram initiatives, and we wrote all content for their social media. So some of you might be familiar with Curve. It's a sustainable luxury development. It's actually going to be the world's tallest passive house when it's complete, and it's just here in downtown Vancouver. So going into brand voice, today I want to talk about a project that is actually not in our regular wheelhouse. So it's not in sort of the real estate realm, but it's one where we use character personas to create brand voice. So I'm sure lots of you are in creative industries yourselves, so you probably have an idea about what brand voice is, but it's a really big part of what we focus on at Scribe. So brand voice, just to give you a very quick overview, it's developed as a guide to lead all communications, and it helps us understand how to speak to our audience and acts as a roadmap to ensure that we have consistency across all mediums, whether that's, I don't know what's going on.
I got it. Don't worry. It's a jiggle.
Okay, perfect. Whether that's, website, social media, ads, really any of your external marketing. So I wanted to examine sort of a fun exercise. It's a little bit silly, but that we did to help a client develop their brand's tone of voice. So going into our brief. So last year I was approached by an agency in Edmonton. They were representing a window installation company. And basically they wanted us to write a 30-second radio spot encouraging Edmontonians to purchase new windows and doors before the winter. The ad would also need to talk about the ongoing matching rebate, where they'd match, I believe, up to $4,000 on the purchase of new doors or windows. So very sexy stuff. I'm from Edmonton, and I feel like I grew up hearing these exact sort of commercials, and I knew how they could blend into the background. So I knew I was going to have to do something creative in order to really make this stand out. The good thing is that they were very open in their brief, so I could kind of go in any direction that I was wanting to. So I started by thinking of a character, and essentially someone who could be the narrator for the story, who would be telling this on the radio, somebody who has a voice that stands out. While this wasn't necessarily what the brief asked for, I built out 3 different ads, each that were inspired by a different sort of fictional character. This is not one of them. I made my designer put this in here, and I was like, we're from Edmonton. We have to put that in. But thank you. Okay, so inspiration number 1 was Flo from Progressive. So just by a show of hands, who's familiar with Flo? Okay, good. I'm really glad that some people are, because same thing, my designer was like, I have no idea who this person is. So basically, inspired by Flo, I started looking at who is she and what does she stand for. So she's fun, she's polished, she's professional, she's consistent. And with her in mind, I wrote a very polished and professional ad that really spoke to the benefits of new windows and doors. So it was polite, it was factual, it was informative, it was friendly, but it was also straight to the point, so just like Flo. Inspiration number 2 is Mr. Chips. Is anyone familiar with him? Okay, so I figured that most people wouldn't be. He is the assistant on Catchphrase, which is a British panel show. So even if you're not familiar with him, you can get a lot from his photo. He's childish, he's fun, he has that bandana on, he's a little bit silly. So inspired by him, I suggested we create a new character named Winston the Window Mascot. So someone who would appear in radio ads again and again with different quips and be sort of an instantly recognizable voice on the radio. Kind of like the Spence Diamonds guy, but not as annoying as him. So with him in mind, I wrote a kind of a slightly silly ad where Winston came on the radio, introduced himself, and talked about the benefits of new windows and doors. And then inspiration number 3. Hopefully this works.
Hey, I'm not a lumberjack or a fur trader, and I don't live in an igloo or eat blubber or own a dog sled.
And I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I'm certain they're really, really nice.
I have a prime minister, not a president. I speak English and French, not American, and I pronounce it about, not a boot. I can proudly sew my country's flag on my backpack. I believe in peacekeeping, not policing, diversity, not assimilation, and that the beaver is a truly proud and noble animal. A toque is a hat, a Chesterfield is a coach, and it is pronounced Z, not Z. Canada is the second largest landmass, the first nation in hockey, and the best part of North America. My name is Joe, and I am Canadian. Thank you.
Kind of influenced by this I Am Canadian ad, which again, like show of hands, are people familiar with it? It was really big in the early 2000s. Yeah, the Molson Canadian ad. And yeah, I wanted what I tried to do with this one is harness the voice that was a little bit more, really like what he has in this video. I'm just going to keep going. So I personally really wanted the client to choose this third direction. I thought that it would resonate the most with the audience. And yeah, so those are kind of the 3 different inspirations. They're all very different. This is working. All right, so guess which one the client chose. So hands up for Flo for, polished and professional. And then hands up for B. It is Mr. Chips. So yeah, hands up for B. And then hands up for C. All right, so yeah, it was C. They went ahead with that. They were super excited about it. Yeah, and the client was thrilled with the amount of creativity and energy that went into the project. It's just not happening. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I guess in terms of the takeaway from this, using characterization and personas can help you craft stronger, more specific brand voice and helps you connect better with your audience. The good thing about this is it was obviously a little bit silly, but it was a really good way to get different ideas about, how would this person speak, how would this, narrator on the radio speak, and how would that resonate with the audience. And so, you can also make it more serious, like on the project I was talking about earlier for Townline, we did something similar to it, but we really took a more serious approach. It was more corporate client, where we looked at, building out 2 different personas that were looking at who would actually live in this building and went as far as, naming them and giving them backstories. And it's just a good way to get a better idea of who you're speaking to. Yeah, and then my second takeaway is just take a break. So yeah, when Ami reached out to me to present, I said yes, and then instantly started to panic because I had no idea what I was going to talk about. And yeah, I was actually just like going for a walk one day, and this random project floated into my mind from last year. And yeah, it was just kind of an interesting process to get to where we got with the ad, and figured that I would speak about that. That is everything. Thank you so much to Ami and the Creative Pulse team just for letting me speak today. And yeah, hopefully looking forward to chat with some of you after.